Today we're going to talk about Cinderella. Of course, the one from 1950, the original Cinderella movie. What do you mean that's not the right Cinderella? Oh, right, we're talking about the live action version. Let me go back to my notes. The live action that came out in 2015. No, that's still not right? Maybe I just need to put on my glasses just to see what's going on. Ah, do you mean the Cinderella story movie with Hilary Duff from 2004? No? Do you mean another Cinderella story in 2008 with Selena Gomez? How many versions of this Cinderella story are there? Of course we're talking about the one with the black people in it because duh. Hello my beautiful people and welcome back to my channel. I am That Zotaku. Over here on this channel we like to think that animated characters are way better than actual human beings. So we like to talk anime, we like to talk movies that have to do with cartoons, we like to talk anything animated. But once in a while I like to switch it up on y'all because it's my channel and I can do whatever I want. This time we're going to be talking about the live action Cinderella from Disney. It just got released back on Disney Plus. I feel validated because for so many years people looked at me like I was crazy when I told them that my Cinderella was black. Let me just give you a bit of a backstory. I went to predominantly white schools for most of my life. Like I was that person that happened to be like the only black girl in a lot of her classes. And then of course like every Black History Month, somehow the topic of slavery would come up and then everyone would look at me like, yes, I am the representative of the Negroes. Thank you very much. I was trying to make friends, trying to relate to my classmates, and the little girls in my class would always be like, oh, my favorite princess is Ariel. My favorite princess is Aurora. My favorite Disney princess is Cinderella. And I was like, I don't know what these movies are. I did not watch most of these Disney movies as a kid. I'm only just getting back into it in my young adulthood because that's just not what I grew up with. My mom and dad came from Haiti, so I'm a first generation American of Haitian descent. When my mom and dad came here, they would find little movies for me and my younger brother to watch, but being up to date with what's going on in the movie realm was just not their priority. Like their priority was let's put food on the table, which I think is a valid priority. But with that, I was kind of behind on the times when it came to a lot of pop culture stuff. Like a lot of things that y'all may have grown up with, I don't know those things. Watch this movie over and over again. I'm just like, I love this. This is great. I love Cinderella. Cinderella's so pretty. I saw myself in this Cinderella. So then of course, little Zoe goes back to school the next day and she's like, guys, I finally saw Cinderella. And they're like, yeah, isn't Cinderella great? And I'm like, yeah, Cinderella is great. Wasn't her blonde hair and go well with her blue dress? And I'm sitting here like, blonde hair? Don't you mean braids? And they did not know what I was talking about. They had no clue what I was talking about. They were showing me the cartoon version of Cinderella being a white woman with blonde hair. I don't know this woman. I thought I was crazy. Like I thought that the version that my mom bought me was like incorrect, was like a bootleg, like it didn't exist, like it never existed. Because I feel like now rewatching it as an adult and remembering all the emotions that I felt as a kid is very impactful for me as a young black woman, and I imagine it being impactful for other young black girls. That's why we do this little segment called Just Cause They're Black, because if I see some live action stuff that I feel is a good representation for young black girls, I'm gonna talk about it, give you guys my thoughts, and hopefully you'll watch it and share it with your loved ones, whether you're black or not. I'm pretty sure we're all relatively familiar with Cinderella, considering we've been inundated with like so many Cinderella spin-offs from Disney and from other places for like the past like 20 years. Like Cinderella's just not going anywhere. So Cinderella's with her stepmom, her two stepsisters, her father is dead. Cinderella is tired of being a servant to these people. They treat her like a dog. They make her do their laundry. They make her go do the shopping, the cooking, the cleaning, treating her like a servant instead of like an actual human being. And Cinderella is just sitting there like, I'm sick of this. I dream of something bigger. I want to leave this place. All I want to do is just dream and dream and dream that someone's going to take me out of here. And eventually someone does. There's a ball that's going on in this kingdom where the prince is trying to find a wife reluctantly. Oh, I don't want to marry just for the crown. I want to marry for love, just like y'all did. And he's just like, will no one understand me? That sometimes I just want to be treated like a regular person. I just want to be loved for who I am, not because of the money and the fame and the horses and the land and all the stuff that I had. So in a way, the prince and Cinderella both, they both want more from life than just what's going on the outside of their lives. A ball's going on. The stepsisters are like, oh, I'm gonna snag me a prince. The stepmom is like, y'all better snag yourself a prince so you can be set for life. Cinderella's like, I want to go to the ball too. And they're like, no, you don't get to go to the ball. Why would the prince want you? But of course, she does go to the ball. How? With the help of Whitney Houston, who plays the wonderful fairy godmother. Whitney Houston's like, girl, first things first, we gotta get you to stop dreaming. You can't be just sitting here dreaming, because dreaming is what people do when they don't have any plans. They don't have any goals. Like, if you're gonna be sitting here dreaming, you actually need to put actions behind those dreams. Which I'm just like, heard you, sis. Heard you, sis. Makes perfect sense. We are constantly thinking like, oh, I wish my life was different. I wish I was able to lose weight. I wish I had this business going. I wish I was able to finish school. You can wish all you want, but if you don't put the active steps behind those wishes, they're just gonna stay wishes. They're just gonna stay dreams. Whitney Houston was trying to drop some knowledge on us, but little 5-year-old me did not understand it. But now at 24, I somewhat understand it. Back in the 90s, we had a lot more black girl representation, especially in sitcoms and movies where you have like black people and unambiguous black actors just being on our screen. Now the problem is that a lot of times they were in stereotyped roles. Ratchet, angry, broke, struggling, all negative things. Do those people exist? Absolutely. But that's not the black women as a whole. That's not the black woman as a whole. We are not a monolith. You can have bougie black women. You can have pretty, feminine, girly, skater girls, nerdy, gothic. You can have so many black women. Just as Matt said, there are variations in our skin tones. There are variations in how we present and move ourselves into this world. But back in the 90s, 2000s, and even today, we keep being shoved into this corner. See the corner that I'm pointing to? We keep being shoved into this corner, but we need to branch out. And this is one of those movies from the back in the day that allowed us to branch out and to take on new forms, such as being soft, feminine, girly, dreaming, wanting to be a damsel in distress. Like, girl, I want to be a damsel too. I would like to be a damsel too. Sometimes I'm not strong. I'm not strong. I am not independent half the time, even though I'm trying to. Like, sometimes I want to be weak, and sometimes I want to fall in love with a handsome Asian prince. And that's what this movie gave me. She walked up into that ball ready to stunt. She ended their lives that night. And that was really, watching it now is really telling to be like, Brandy walked into a ball with box braids. If you are a young black girl watching this video, you know that when your mama was ready to have you go to special occasions like Easter or Christmas, you weren't supposed to have braids. You were supposed to have your hair straightened with that hot comb or get a nice new perm. I did that for years. Luckily, I'm now natural for the past like 5-6 years of my life, but growing up, hot comb time, it kind of set in this idea that if you want to look presentable for people, if you want to look nice for special occasions, if you want to look appropriate, your hair has to be straight. Why? Why? My hair goes like this. It doesn't need to be straight. It doesn't need to be straight to be acceptable, to be seen as beautiful, to be seen as professional, to be seen as anything other than what it is. Something that grows out of my head. There's nothing special about it. It just grows out of my head. So why does everyone need to feel the need to tame it, control it, make it appropriate? It's not, my hair is nothing special. It's just something that grows out of my head. And the way it grows out of my head is just like, there's nothing special about my hair. It just grows. It's just hair. Now let's get into why this movie is important for everybody else. Plain and simple enough, if I had to relate to and find beauty and find relatability in characters like Ariel and Aurora, in Mulan, if I had to find ways to relate to these people and to relate to these characters until I was able to get an actual black princess in the form of Tiana from 2009 in Princess and the Frog, which was great. Homegirls, we is kin, but she was a frog most of the time. I'm just pointing that out. She's a frog most of the time. We'll talk about that in another video. But If I, as a young black girl, had to find relatability in so many characters on TV that don't look like me, that don't represent my stories, that don't represent me at all, and I can find beauty and I can find relatability in those characters to some extent, other people should be able to do that with Brandy as well. I shouldn't have had to walk into school one day and no one know what I'm talking about for the 1997 Brandy Cinderella. I shouldn't have had to walk into school and people think like, oh, that's a black movie. I don't watch black movies. I don't watch this. I don't know that. I don't know this because it's a black show. I don't know this because it's black. Nothing's for nobody. Sure, this movie was geared towards a black and ethnic audience, but at the root of it all, Cinderella is a classic story that anybody can relate to, that anybody can find beauty in. Granted, it does showcase that whole like unrealistic love at first sight trope, but but it's okay. Tropes are fine. We like tropes. Tropes are classic for a reason. Anybody can find relatability with this story. This story does not have a race. This story does not have a gender. This story does not have to be relatable to just one type of person. It can be relatable to anybody. Basically what I'm saying is, if anybody can watch the original Cinderella and find beauty and relatability in it, that applies to Brandy's version too. That relatability doesn't stop just because Brandy is black. That relatability doesn't stop just because the cast doesn't have many white people as the lead. You can still find beauty in it. You can still relate to Cinderella, the character, because the Cinderella from Brandy versus the Cinderella from the original are the same Cinderella. They have the exact same characteristics. They have the exact same personality. They have the exact same wants and dreams. It's just a difference of color. And now you can just walk in, see Brandy, and be like, oh, black girls can be whimsy. Black girls can see themselves as whimsy, just like white girls can see themselves full of whimsy and wanting love. Other young girls of different races and backgrounds can look at this and be like, I want to be like this Cinderella because she's pretty, she looks like me, she represents me, she is me, we are we! You get what I'm saying? Even me, I can go back to Mulan. I love Mulan. Mulan's one of my favorite Disney movies. I can see a lot of strengths in Mulan that I find in myself. Being loyal to family, wanting to achieve more than just be married, wanting to push herself past her limit to be able to achieve her goals. Those are all characteristics that I see in Mulan, but those are not just characteristics for just Mulan. You get what I'm saying? I think you get what I'm saying. Last thing I want to talk about, interracial coupling. I don't know why we have gotten into this thing in society where, especially nowadays, let me just go on this side note. Back then, you could find like black girls everywhere just like striving for greatness, being varied and all that stuff. But nowadays, you can't find a single black girl anywhere on TV or on movies. And if you do find a black girl, it's someone that's light-skinned, ethnically ambiguous, or biracial that somehow equals a black person, and I'm supposed to see myself in that. Like, where's the girls that have hair like me? Where's the girl that have a skin tone like me? Like, where are the unambiguous, straight-up black girls where you don't have to guess and, like, train back their lineage all the way back centuries to prove that they got a little bit of black in them? Where are those girls? Like, I love me some Zendaya, but Zendaya does not look like the average black girl, and that's okay. We gotta bring that back. I'm sick of seeing interracial couples have a white person and then a person of color. A white woman, then a man of color. White man and then a woman of color. Interracial does not mean ethnic plus white. Like, you can have other people mixing and just showcase some other variations. A white person doesn't need to be the lead all the time. Like, y'all got plenty. Share the spotlight a little bit. That's all I'm saying. Those are some of the points that I had for Cinderella 1997 with Brandy. I'm hoping that you get a chance to go back to this movie, relive your childhood. If this was the movie that you grew up with, please comment down below if you've seen it again as an adult and you relate to what I am saying. That's pretty much all I have for this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!